onlinelearners.com. Science Grade 8. Uh, this is our first lesson, Importance of Microorganisms. We have already learned this lesson in grade 6 and grade 7 also. We know microorganisms are in all the environments in our world, and also they can live hostile environments also. We can increase our knowledge by this about microorganisms by this lesson. Then we can start. In our world, we can see three types of living organisms. Those are plants, animals, and also microorganisms. Then microorganisms are different types, and animals are different types, and plants are different types. Firstly, we have to identify the types of microorganisms. Viruses, bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoans. Those are the microorganisms. And unicellular microorganisms. There are paramecium, amoeba, yeast, and there are also chlamydomonas and euglena. Multicellular organisms. Mucor and fungi, those are multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms are paramecium, amoeba, and yeast, and euglena and chlamydomonas. Multicellular microorganisms are mucor and fungi. We can divide those microorganisms into two groups. Those are unicellular microorganisms and multicellular microorganisms. We can get paramecium, amoeba, yeast, and chlamydomonas and euglena to unicellular microorganisms group. And second group, that means multicellular microorganisms, those are mucor, fungi. If you have any questions about that, yeast are included in group of fungi. Then how that yeast is unicellular. Not all the fungi are multicellular, some ones are unicellular. That's the answer for that question. Unicellular microorganisms, paramecium, amoeba, yeast, chlamydomonas, and euglena. Then multicellular microorganisms, mucor and fungi. There are 5 types of microorganisms. Those are viruses, bacteria, fungi, and algae, and protozoa. To more knowledge, viruses are shown living features as well as non-living features. We can't observe viruses by using compound microscope. We can use to see them by electron microscope. This is the definition for the microorganisms. Microorganisms are unicellular or multicellular organisms which cannot be observed in our naked eye. Is known as microorganisms. Microorganisms are unicellular or multicellular. We have that knowledge about microorganisms. Microorganisms can be divided into two groups. Those are unicellular and multicellular organisms. Then they can't observe in our naked eye because they are too small. We can observe them through microscope. Then the definition should be: microorganisms are unicellular or multicellular organisms which cannot be observed in our naked eye. Microorganisms are unicellular or multicellular organisms which cannot be observed in our naked eye. Microorganisms are unicellular or multicellular organisms which cannot be observed in our naked eye. Then how we observe them? We can observe them by using a compound microscope, and we can observe viruses by using electron microscope we can't see viruses through compound microscope because they are too small. And also viruses shown living features as well as non-living features. Microorganisms are found in every habitat of the world. We can divide that habitat as two groups. Those are normal environment and hostile environment. Habitats can be divided into two groups. Those are normal environments and hostile environments. Normal environments: air, water, in and on living organisms, soil. Hostile environment: glaciers, deserts, hot springs, and deep sea. Normal environments: air, water, in and on living organisms, soil. Hostile environments: glaciers, deserts, hot springs. Yes, habitats are different types. We can divide those habitat into two groups. Those are normal environments and hostile environments. Normal environments, we can stay, I think, air, water, in and on living organisms, and soil. Then hostile environment. Can you live in that hostile environment? I mean, glaciers, desert, hot springs, and deep sea. Can you stay? Can you stay only 1 hour? You can't stay, no? Then glaciers are very, very, very cold. We can't stay in glaciers. And deserts, we can't stay because someone are very hot, someone are very cold. We can't stay. And hot springs, we can't stay. And deep sea, we can't stay because we can't get oxygen. Then habitats that microorganisms are found in every habitat of the world. Then the scientist Antony van Leeuwenhoek observed microorganisms for very first time in 1674. Scientist Antony van Leeuwenhoek observed microorganisms for very first time in 1674 by using the simple microscope that he has invented. He is the first man observed that microorganisms, and he has observed them by using a simple microscope that he invented. Then first man that microscope has invented, that is scientist Antony van Leeuwenhoek. He has observed those microorganisms for very first time in 1674. You have to get those to your mind. The beneficial effects of microorganisms: producing bakery products, that mean bread like that, and producing yogurt, and producing cheese, producing curds. We say those producing dairy products. Then producing vaccines and antibiotics. This is very useful to us. And producing biogas, and producing alcohol, and producing vinegar. Those are the advantages of microorganisms. And composting, that is very useful. And we can get that control the biological pest control. That is very useful. Effect of microorganisms, and also harmful effects of microorganisms. Food spoilage. We can get growth of microorganisms on vegetables, growth of microorganisms on fruit, growth of microorganisms on bread. Those are the disadvantages of microorganisms. And infectious diseases caused to man. Viruses: common cold, dengue, and polio. Those are the viruses we can get sickness. Then bacteria, tuberculosis, leprosy and typhoid fever. And photozoa, malaria, leishmaniasis, amoebiasis, and then fungi gives pityriasis and so those are the infectious diseases. Then cause infectious diseases for crops. Those are blinks, then mosaic disease and leaf curl disease. Then infectious diseases cause to animals. Rabies and foot and mouth disease and mastitis, those are the infectious diseases caused to animals. The damage to the surfaces, those are fungi on clothes, fungi on wall, fungi on wooden spaces. Fungi is the microorganisms damage to the surface, but not all the microorganisms are cause diseases to the humans, crops and animals, and not all of the microorganisms are food spoilage. Not all of the microorganisms are didn't do damages to the surfaces. And our lesson is finished now. We invite you to study happily and effectively. Join with by joining with us. Thank you.